A very good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News today. Coming up, 13 killed in a gory accident at Sablugu, Zuarungu while returning from a funeral in the northern region. We'll hear from the police, who have also nabbed 6 suspected robbers.
Silver color Toyota Camry saloon car, together with the documents, land title documents, iPhone, among other items, were taken at gunpoint.
Also, as residents of Apeatse in the western region count their loss, we'll tell you about the man who lost his 21-year-old son, a 10-bedroom house and a pub.
My new house is 10 bedroom self-contained.
10 bedroom?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom.
10 bedroom?
Yeah.
So that's been completely destroyed or what?
Destroyed.
Details as residents continue to mourn his son, Justice Apia, popularly known as Suarez, described as a servant of the community. Meanwhile, government has launched a support fund to provide relief for victims of the explosion. More from the minister and chair of the 5-member committee set up to manage the fund. E-levy missing on today's agenda as Parliament resumes. More as Economic Fighters League picket at the forecourt of the House of Legislature. Details of all these stories and more, plus business, sports, world news, and show business, all in this hour. My name is Mama Vioswamwali. Please stay with us. In our first story, 13 people have been confirmed dead after a cab truck they were traveling on was involved in an accident at Sablugu in the northern region. The police say the truck was carrying over 33 mourners who were returning from a funeral. The Northern Region Crime Officer Superintendent Bernard Baba Nanga spoke to my colleague Mapito Sibidi on News Desk earlier.
Currently have about 13, three more dead recorded from them, and making the number 13 as of yesterday evening.
And have...
we still have 6 of them at BTH who are still on admission, and then 4 at WD Hospital. This truck, Kia Rhino, was returning from a funeral. I was carrying about 33 persons on the bucket. On reaching a particular spot around Sablugu, after negotiating a curve, the driver spotted a cyclist on the road. And what we also obtained was that the cyclist was concentrating on his phone, lost, and then entered the road, which the driver, in an attempt to avoid knocking him, lost control of the steering wheel. The vehicle ran into a bush and finally somersaulted, resulting in that particular.
Snatchers and robbers have been arrested in the same region. Northern Regional Police Commander COP Timothy Yosabonga said the suspects attacked and robbed a house at a suburb of Tamale. He gives further details to Joy News in an interview.
On 23rd of this month, that's January, at about 2:30 a.m., police received a distress call that 5 armed men, all dressed in military uniform with guns, attacked and robbed occupants of a house at John Shegu, a suburb of Tamale. An unregistered silver color Toyota Camry saloon car, together with the documents, land title documents, iPhone, among other items, were taken at gunpoint. On receipt of the complaint, a combined team of regional counter-terrorism unit, the Foreign Police unit, and investigators from Tamale Regional Headquarters trailed the suspects to Tawaba barrier near Bupe in the Savannah region, and arrested all 5 suspects, namely Yusuf Mustafa, age 23 years, Ibrahim Yisa, age 27 years, Saram Ado, age 34 years, Ajay Benjamin, 23 years, and Vivor Christopher, age 27 years. On board the stolen car and another black Toyota Camry saloon car, also suspected to have been snatched. At the time of arrest, suspect Yusuf Mustafa was fully dressed in military uniform with the rank of a lance corporal and adorned with Army Headquarters lanyard and armed with a Falcon pistol loaded with 9 rounds of 9mm ammunition. The suspects faced fake registration number AS8445-19 and GX 6923-20, that's 20, on the 2 vehicles.
And from the northern region, we turn our attention to the western region. Last week, Thursday's explosion at Apeatse in that region killed his 21-year-old son, Justice Appiah. It also destroyed his 10-bedroom house and his pub. That is the story of a 60-year-old miner, Joseph Appiah, who says he had wished death upon himself after the explosion that devastated and wiped out his entire village. Maxwell Agbagba went to meet him and has come through with this story.
I have met Joseph Appiah at the new shelter where the displaced persons will be resettled. There's a meeting underway about 150 meters away from where we are standing. A new committee that has been formed is discussing the resettlement plan. Joseph is a member of that committee, but has agreed to talk to me about his misfortune. He says his 21-year-old son, Justice Appiah, had taken his mother and siblings to safety before moving close to the burning explosive van to take pictures.
I have so many things, drinking spot, 5 rooms, and then the new house.
Okay.
Store and other stuff.
What kind of child was he? I'm sure you loved him as a child. The community actually liked him. Like the whole community mentions his name, Suarez.
He's free like they were.
Yeah.
He's free. That is why people keep on mentioning his name.
Joseph Appiah says he lost his 10-bedroom house and a pub to the explosion.
And then my new house is 10-bedroom self-contained.
10-bedroom?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom.
10-bedroom house? Yeah. So that's been completely destroyed or what?
Destroyed. Wow. The grass, people came and then fixed the grasses. 3 days after this incident happened. Wow. I can surely send you all the pictures.
Yeah. So you've lost a 10-bedroom house. Yeah. What else did you lose? Your drinking spot?
Yeah, the drinking spot, and then the store, and then that 5 bedrooms, and then the new house.
Yeah.
I've done the POP, everything. Window, sliding windows, I've fixed everything. It has got spoiled. When I came to the scene,
yeah,
I said to a lot of people that I wish I would have died. Because it wasn't easy for me at that particular moment.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm managing. I went to Kumasi. I've bought China doors. Yeah. I said I will fix China doors throughout. And then the washroom is China, that glass door.
Yeah.
So I have it in my sister's house.
Yeah.
So when this issue happened,
yeah,
I said to myself, currently, where am I going to send these items to? So right as I speak to you, I'm managing some corner.
His son, Justice Appiah, popularly known as Suarez, has been described as a community child who diligently served the people of Apeatse.
We're going to have a wedding this Sunday, this morning that I'm talking to.
Head pastor of the Dominion Miracle Center of Faith Church, Derek Eshen, says the church lost everything. He says Suarez is irreplaceable.
He wants to do things on his own. He drives one of these Okada, that's Pragya as we call around. He's a guy that everyone loves here in this town. He's a very good guy. Whatever you tell him to do, he will do it and do it out of his heart. And he's a good guy. He's a very good guy. That is why everyone is talking about Suarez. And there's this guy too, Kofi Small Boy. We call him Oboy. He was also taking video at the incident and he also lost his life. He's also a good guy. So we're going to have a wedding this Sunday, this morning that I'm talking to you. We're supposed to have a wedding, but because of the incident, the wedding has been called off. And it's so sad, but I believe if I should say the will of God, but we give God all the glory for this incident and nothing much I can say. They've waited all this while, but it hasn't been easy for them, but I've been encouraging them, praying with them, and then they are okay now.
Meanwhile, the Environmental Protection Agency and the Forestry Commission have carried an environmental impact assessment following the explosion. The objective was to investigate the quality of air, flora and fauna, as well as the surface and groundwater resources of the area. Chief Executive of the EPA, Henry Kwabena-Kokofu, explained the significance of the assessment and findings made so far. He spoke on News Desk.
We had our experts dispatched with logistics and equipment to go and monitor the air quality, monitor the plants and animals, that's flora and fauna, and then also water resources. Running water, that's surface water and underground water.
Okay.
So we've been able to get samples of all these. We also needed to be there to ask people not to frequent the place, particularly those that are so badly damaged have become trapped. In the frenzy of all that, we had discussions with the municipality and we granted environmental permits for the demolitions to be undertaken. That is, those weak structures have to be brought down. Today and tomorrow, by close of tomorrow, we are done with our report, and surely we will be issuing environmental permit for construction or reconstruction of the place to the regional minister and then federal to the municipality. So by and large, our preliminary investigations show that the place is habitable.
Okay.
The air quality is to be standard. We checked on the animal populations there, their integrity, their status, and we think we are convinced that they are okay. The plant is also okay.
Well, some government officials we understand are currently visiting the explosion sites. Let's touch base with our man on the ground, Maxwell Agbagba, for the very latest. Maxwell, what can you report?
No, live. We're going live.
Hello, Maxwell, if you can hear me. I understand there are some government officials visiting the area. Explain who they are and what they're currently doing.
So we're coming to you live from the St. Michael's Catholic Church, which is serving as a shelter for some of the displaced persons. We've had some heads of state agencies coming here to come and visit some of the displaced persons earlier. They were at the explosion site where they went around to assess the situation. Later they moved to the new place, which is going to serve as the new shelter for the people who've been displaced. But we have with us the boss of SIGA, State Interest and Governance Authority, here with us, Ambassador Edward Boateng here with us. We want to find out what the mission of SIGA is here. So you're welcome to join us.
Thank you very much.
Great. So we want to find out the people who are part of the delegation and what SIGA's mission is here.
Well, this is a small team that we put together comprising of leaders of the various state enterprises. We're here with executives from leadership from VRA, NLA, NADMO, Coastal Development Authority, State Housing, Glyco, and we're here to do an assessment of the extent of the damage. We've heard varying reports, and we thought it would be better for us to come see and then go back and determine how best we can help through the government fund that has been set up. So I think we've had a very, very good trip. We've spoken to a lot of the victims. We've also seen things for ourselves. So now it will help us determine how best we can also help.
Now, tears welled up in your eyes just some minutes ago when you carried that 1-month-old baby who we are told some of the rubble actually fell on her. She had bruises on her face. You've been assessing the situation. What's your own assessment of what you've seen so far?
First, I would like to commend the MCA. I mean, I've been to disaster sites in several places, Rwanda, DRC, and for what I've seen, he deserves a lot of commendation. Together with his entire team, they've done very well to resettle the people. Obviously, at St. Michael's, we see the congestion, and because of COVID, he's assured us that in a week's time, he'll be able to move them to the new site. And I think for us, that's also one of the things that we're going to look at, how best and how fast we can help him to resettle the people to the new site, because it's spacious, they will have their own tents and everything. So it's good that we came. There were things that hitherto, for instance, I hadn't thought of, that now I know is more important than possibly bringing some of the things we were thinking of. But I think for the baby, as a parent, I mean, when I saw the cuts on the forehead, I was moved to look at her closer. And when the mother said that the whole thing had fallen on her, the fact that she's alive shows you that there's a God. You know, there's a God. And for me, that was why I was touched.
Okay. So finally, what assistance will SIGA be giving to these people in partnership with all the state agencies? What kind of assistance?
As I've said, I'm going back to discuss with my colleagues. Okay. So I cannot sit here and say we're going to do this, but we will definitely do something. As a group, we'll do something. As individuals, we'll also do something. And we all belong to different associations that we're also going to call on to also do something. It's not everybody who can come to Apeatse or Bogoso, but we felt it was important for us to come today so that we can go back and advise people appropriately. And that's what we're going to do.
Thank you very much. Let's speak to the NADMO boss, who is also here with us. So you've also been to the ground. You've been to the ground. We're told that NADMO is still carrying out investigations into what happened. Can you tell us more?
Yes, assessment and investigations are ongoing together with other security agencies. We are doing that. So today, we are the lead agency in disaster management. So when SIGA decided to come, even though I'm a chief executive also, I joined them to come. It is important that anybody who wants to do donation or whatever support, they liaise with NADMO so that we can tell them what is on the ground, what actually they need. Because if you come here, people will beat you with rice. So if somebody wants to donate relief items, we will tell the person not to bring in rice, but other things. And like the DG for SIGA rightly said, we are all commending the municipal chief executive, who is also the chairman of Municipal Disaster Management Committee, for the good job he has done. As you are rightly aware, government really responded swiftly, and we've put a lot of things in place. But the MCE is leading the team, and they are doing a lot. If you could see what is happening here, the people are crowded, and that is not good, especially at this COVID period. We've just inspected a place, the permanent safe havens that are being prepared for them to move there before the construction is done. And you could see everything has been taken care of, a clinic, a security post, the warehouse, the kitchen, wherever. And these are the things government is doing to make sure that the people really get proper relief. And I must say that the assembly led by the MCE has done a great job, and government will continue doing that. Thank you.
I don't want to keep you in the sun. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Okay. Yeah, we need to also thank the Catholic Church, especially the Catholic Church of Bogoso and Father Edward Kujo. They've done an exemplary job, and I think the people of Ghana owe them a debt of gratitude. The government owes them a debt of gratitude, and we really thank them for the yeoman's job they are doing. We also need to thank our police force. We've seen the work they are doing, and the military, and all the other agencies that are involved. People have really done well, and they all need commendation. But Catholic Church, police, and the military, we doff our hats off to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for talking to us. So that's it. You had. Okay, you want to say something?
CEO of the mining.
Okay.
Latest on the ground at Apeatse. We still stay there because as part of rehabilitation efforts for victims of the explosion, government has instituted a support scheme for persons who have suffered losses. Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Abujinapo, announced the constitution of a 5-member committee to be chaired by Dr. Joyce Aye.
Ghanaians have always been known to be hospitable and compassionate, and we cannot ignore our own people who fell victim of this unfortunate incident. Ladies and gentlemen, on the instructions of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has decided to launch, quote, the Apeatse Support Fund, end quote, to raise funds from the general public to, among others, support the victims of this unfortunate incident and to reconstruct the community which was brought down by the explosion. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure fair, transparent, and judicious use of the fund, government has decided to appoint a 5-member committee to manage the fund. The committee will be chaired by Reverend Dr. Joyce Aye, a distinguished and eminent stateswoman who is the founder of the Salt and Light Ministries and who has previously served as Minister for Information, Minister for Education, Minister for Local Government, and Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and who, as a result of her exemplary service to our motherland, was awarded a Companion of the Order of the Volta in 2006 by the then President of the Republic, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor. A woman of enormous integrity, this is the woman government has settled on to chair this important committee.
And that's Samuel Abujinapo. Well, the committee is expected to raise funds for the scheme and also to supervise the judicious use of the funds for the sole benefits of the victims. Reverend Dr. Joyce Aye will chair the committee to man the fund.
We feel very privileged to be called to serve the nation at this very crucial time of its need. Each of us comes with some level of expertise, and together our prayer is that God would bind us together and give us a singular mind to undertake this task. It is onerous, but nothing is impossible for God. And so on behalf of my colleagues, I say we accept this honor, we accept this privilege, and we ask for your support, especially members of the media, we ask for your support. I'm glad that my presiding bishop is here. We also ask for prayer support. And we ask that the reasons why this fund has been set up would be fully realized.
Now, the controversial electronic transactions levy, popularly known as E-levy, is missing on the order paper of Parliament as the House resumes from its month-long recess today. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta had earlier indicated that the bill, which will impose a 1.75% charge on mobile money transactions, will be brought back to Parliament for further deliberations when the House reconvenes. But that does not seem to be happening today as far as today's business on the floor is concerned. Parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins us live from Parliament with more. Parker, what reasons have you gathered for the missing E-levy on today's agenda?
So, Mamavi, the information you're picking is that the finance minister last week announced to the public that they were going to engage further. Now, this engagement essentially is to ensure that Ghanaians have a better appreciation of what the proceeds from the E-levy will be used for, and also give them an understanding why government has maintained the 1.75% as the charge on the levy. And so it is the main reason that today we do not have the E-levy advertised on the order paper for consideration. Now, mind you, the E-levy is already in Parliament, but the only thing the government had to do was to again reintroduce the conversation for the MPs to consider the levy. So that is the information that we have picked up. In fact, we are learning that the finance minister will next week now present the E-levy to Parliament for them to consider it. Now, it is the expectation and the hope of government that between now and next week, they would have done a broader consultation on this E-levy before it gets back to Parliament for the necessary consideration. But the NDC has maintained, and they are clear in their minds, that whether the consultation or not, Ghanaians are against the E-levy, and so they need to step it down. So they will marshal all the 137 NDC MPs to kick against the E-levy. So that has been their position on this matter. I must say that Parliament will, in the next 10 minutes, kickstart with the proceedings. And so the leadership are currently in a meeting. Now, when they are done, they'll come before the plenary, and then they'll continue with their discussion for today.
League fighters have also been spotted in Parliament. What for? Is it just to observe today's proceedings?
Essentially, is to protest against the E-levy. I mean, that is their whole position on this matter. In fact, they came to Parliament at the main entrance. They were locked out. They've been asked not to enter, so they are outside the President of Parliament right at the gate, and they are saying that they will continue to picket until the E-levy is entirely thrown out. So they are here in protestation against the E-levy. They don't want Parliament to even consider it at all, and that is why Bernard Mona, being the lead convener for Justice for Ghana, is here today with some of their members. Well, those identified in the red beret and the red T-shirt have been asked to stay outside, but some individuals who are just wearing normal shirts, dressed normally, have managed to get into the President of Parliament. So we understand that some of them will soon go into the chamber when Parliament begins the sitting. And so for them, they want to ensure that Parliament shoots down or steps down this E-levy. Until then, they are not leaving the President of Parliament. I made my checks with the police, and the police indicated that for now, they do not allow individuals to come into the chamber to protest or even petition. If they have any petition, they can just send one person to go and deliver the petition to the leadership of the House. Is the reason they have decided to keep them outside the gates and ensure that there is law and order in Parliament.
Another issue of interest, Parker, is who would preside over sittings today. Is it a Speaker, Alban Gbagbin, or the first Deputy Speaker, or perhaps the second Deputy Speaker? What do you know? I'm afraid the connection to Park has just been lost, but when we do know, of course, who is presiding over today's proceedings, we'll bring that to you. Let's turn our attention now to other issues, and government says it will table before Parliament a home return bill to help tap into the human resource of Ghanaians in the diaspora. This bill, according to the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, will help mobilize resources from the diaspora to aid in developing the country. This was revealed by the sector minister, or the deputy, Mark Okrekumante, who was speaking at an event to mark the UNESCO World Day for African and Afro-descendant culture. Mausi Numon and Lois Asari were there for Joy News.
The government is stepping up efforts to attract diasporans of Ghanaian descent to return to the country. In 2019, it rolled out the Year of Return initiative, which was highly patronized by Ghanaians living abroad. Even though the COVID-19 pandemic derailed the Beyond the Return initiative, which was to be a sequel to the Year of Return, Deputy Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okrekumante, says a new law, Home Return Bill, will be laid before Parliament to legalize the efforts towards reintegration.
The government of Ghana has further deepened its commitment in achieving the African Afro-descendant culture bilateral cooperation by putting before Parliament a home return bill which seeks to legally integrate Africans in the diaspora into the Ghanaian society. The bill, when enacted, will recognize the spiritual and moral obligation of Ghana as an African nation in facilitating the return of diasporas, and will remove impediments in the acquisition of property, residence, or citizenship by descendants of Africa who were enslaved and children of Ghanaians living in the diaspora.
He explains government also intends to tap into the rich experience and expertise of Ghanaians in the diaspora.
This honor conferred on Ghana, I humbly suggest, is well deserved, since the President of Ghana has shown his own volition, started an agenda to unite the diaspora with Ghana. Ghana's commitment to highlighting the contributions of culture of the African continent and the African diasporas around the world, as well as their role in driving sustainable development and dialogue, have been very apparent in the initiatives of the President of Ghana. It was with this spirit the government of Ghana launched a Year of Return celebration in the year 2019. The second initiative, Beyond the Return, a sequel of the Year of Return by the government of the day, was designed to promote, foster unity, and bring development to Ghana, as His Excellency Nana Addo recognizes the talents, skills, and contributions economically and otherwise that members in African diasporas have that are useful to building up local communities and economies.
The Deputy Minister was speaking at the UNESCO World Day for African and Afro-descendant culture on the theme African and Afro-descendant culture for peace and sustainable development into the traditional Western, Eastern, Northern, Southern and Central African blocks. Rocky Downey is a Ghanaian reggae musician and ambassador for the celebration.
The African Union is also unfurling the new flag to recognize the sixth region, which is the diaspora, as part of continental Africa. I feel like the new Africa, today is the birth of the new Africa. Today is an ignition time and a line in the sand as to where we leave the past behind us. The past that has been day is the birth of the new Africa. Today is opportunity for us to go into the future and also inspire the tree of humanity, because everybody, all of humanity has its roots in this continent. So the strength of the continent will be the strength of humanity.
The creation of the diaspora brings to 6 regions in the African Union. Mausi Numon and Lois Asari's reports for Joy News.
You're watching Joy News today. We've got business coming up shortly. Stay with us. Well, welcome to business. And without the implementation of the electronic transaction levy to shore up revenue and improve the fiscal economy, the country's international bonds will continue to attract high interest rates, which will consequently trigger increased interest payments and devastating effects on the economy. That's the view of an economist and senior lecturer at the Economics Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Edusa Kodie. He's therefore urging all to support the government to implement the E-levy and raise enough revenue to improve the fiscal economy. He spoke to Joy Business.
The arguments are just emotional. They are sentiments. Most of them are just playing to the gallery. Let us have intellectual discourse over this E-levy transaction. I support it. If you are talking about the fact that government should be prudent in its management, I agree. Not only respect to the mobile money, but respect to any other revenue that has been raised in the economy. Prudent management of the economy is an important ingredient. We cannot go beyond that. What are the other sources of raising revenue? If I look at all the other sources of raising revenue, none of them can happen within this short time, like in 3 to 6 months. None of them. I can see property rates giving us 7 billion in like 1 year. I cannot see tax exemptions, which I am not saying that I am against all these sources of revenue. I am in support of the other sources of revenue. But the point I'm making is that in the immediate term, this other source of revenue will not give us the revenue that government is looking for. It will take time. I can't see tax exemptions, property rate, the natural resources giving us 7 billion over in the next 1 year. All this will take time. If government doesn't take the E-levy, what are the consequences? The consequences are that, based on the Fitch and Bloomberg ratings, government will be denied access to the international capital market. The option is that government will have to come domestically and borrow here at a high rate and crowd out the private sector who need the funds for industrial revolution, for industrial growth. The second option is for government to seek bilateral, multilateral, or syndicated loans. And as of now, many countries are also in difficulties, so I don't see that option viable. The next option, which many people don't want to talk about, is the IMF program. And we all know that borrowing from IMF is different from seeking an IMF.
And that's your business this hour.
Time now for sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. 8 people have been confirmed dead and dozens injured in a stampede in the round of 16 tie involving Cameroon and Comoros. CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe and the Minister of Health of Cameroon, who have been touring the various facilities to check on the injured, is currently addressing media at the Olympic Stadium. We'll go over to Cameroon now and hear from the CAF President.
So I just want to indicate that there's, of course, there are legal agreements between CAF, the LOC, as well as legal agreements involving the government of Cameroon. What I'm clear in my mind, what I'm absolutely clear about is spectators come to a football match to enjoy the football. Whatever legal obligations or legal commitments there may be, in my mind, are of secondary importance, all of us. I know that legally the LOC is responsible for the safety and the security, but we are their partners. And we have to make sure that the safety, and of course we've been focusing more on COVID-19 and the health of every single spectator is our primary concern. So there is zero tolerance absolutely zero tolerance on circumstances which could result in people being injured at the stadium or people losing their lives. We have to take emergency and urgent steps now. So I have called a meeting tomorrow of the AFCON organizing committee, and I've also sought the guidance and advice of my vice presidents, whom I want to thank for being here with me. And the starting point is very clear. I need, and CAF needs, a report on what happened, what should have happened, the circumstances that led to people being injured, including those who lost their lives, urgent emergency steps and measures to make sure that that doesn't happen again. We are all partners. And, whenever in my discussions with the CAF people, and I think they legitimately tell me about what the agreements provide, the responsibilities, the LOC, the responsibilities, the government, we are partners. And when people get injured and people lose their lives, the last thing I'm interested in is to find out who, it's somebody else's responsibility, it's not mine. We have to take collective responsibility. And whatever the legalities may be, we will deal with later. So that's why there is no tolerance, zero tolerance on the circumstances. And I went to Olembe Stadium to see exactly where it happened. And I've been given lots of feedback and had lots of discussions until very early this morning. And the first thing that I'm going to ask the organizing committee is, the next match that's supposed to take place at Olembe should not take place. And I spoke to the senior person in government, and it's correct, out of respect, they are our partners, to indicate that there must be an immediate a committee that's set up to immediately investigate what happened. And in that context, to find out who was supposed to do what and who did not do and perform their responsibilities. We want that report by Friday. But as I said, the game that is scheduled for Olembe Stadium on Sunday is not going to take place. And as I said, out of respect to our partners and governments, it's going to take place at Amadou Ahidjo. So it's going to take place at Amadou Ahidjo, and which is here in Yaoundé. And there will be other changes that will be made, but I need to overemphasize. And let me first say that we have inherited the agreements as they stand, because these agreements were concluded quite some time ago. And of course, as I said, whenever something happens, the first thing people do is, I'm not responsible. I'm not the one to blame. It's somebody else. And my starting point is, CAF is a partner. We are as responsible as the LOC, as well as the government. It's our duty, and we will discuss with them in terms of what should have happened, and to make sure that there is immediate institution. And we all have to be satisfied. I absolutely have to be satisfied that what happened will never happen again. Absolutely never happen again. And the disciplinary committee is going to sit and get the report from the match commission and everybody, because they have to get hold of that. But as I said, in the interim, the game that is supposed, the match that's supposed to take place will not take place until there's an absolute thorough report of the circumstances that gave rise to people being injured and losing their lives, and an absolute guarantee that corrective measures have been taken, will be in place to make sure that the remaining matches are played in an environment of primary focus on safety and health, and that we will never, ever, whilst this competition is continuing, have circumstances that will result in people being injured. So I'll be hosting a meeting tomorrow of the organizing committee, and what I've said to you will be discussed there, but I've already been sending notices to the members of the AFCON Cameroon organizing committee to agree to my suggestion, and as I've said, I've spoken to the government, and they are supportive, and I must say that that there is a huge amount of commitment, a huge amount of recognition that that there's a need for urgent intervention, and I would not want to speculate. I should not speculate until the hearing or the committee that is getting all the facts and the report of the coordinator, executive coordinator, general coordinator, and the report of the match commissioner and everybody in terms of what happened has been submitted. So I'll take a few questions, and I know they said 3, but I think we've got to rush off. And if you allow me, I'll take them and we'll write them. Now, just hold on. I think we've got a duty to deal with the questions as best we can. Yeah, I'll come. Don't worry. I have to get on the plane afterwards to go to Bafoussam for the next match, and then be back tonight. So we have a duty to.
That is CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe. He has mentioned a couple of things. One is that the next match that is supposed to take place at the Olympic Stadium should not happen, because he says that other matches subsequently that will be happening in the competition should be played at safe grounds. He also asked that there should be a collective responsibility in ensuring that the security of spectators at match venues is adhered to. And also, the last thing he mentioned was that he's calling on everyone who was there, the match commissioner, the general match coordinator, everyone to put together their match reports and submit them to the committee that is investing these things. That is your sports for now with me, Muftau Nabila. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll bring Joy News today to a close for now. And